This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
It's Truthful Tuesday. No sugarcoating, no polite lies, just the kind of honesty that makes people nod slowly and rethink their life decisions. Let's talk about it.
A boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited from the gravel road to the neon dream. She built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling when she hits go live. Everybody feels it.
Hey, welcome back, y'all. It's AskABee again, Truthful Tuesday. And yes, we're a little later today. Trying something a little out, I guess. I really wasn't thinking about changing to 1 o'clock. And I'll tell you why, because my Patty friend, she always shows up right about halfway through. And I was thinking maybe if I changed it just a little bit for her, because I know her time zone, maybe she could see the whole show with me. Hopefully that'll help. And it's also because, you know, Texas bipolar weather sucks. And my internet, as great as it is, has been a little wonky because of, well, it's ice. It's not snow. We got snow, but, you know, when you put that on top of a sheet of ice, it just says, hey, more ice friends, let's join. And that's what it does. So kind of sucks. But hey, I'm here. That's what's number one, right? So I'm Boss B, and this is Truthful Tuesday, the day where we kind of slow things down just enough to really look at what happened, why it happened, and whether the truth helped, or whether it quietly set something on fire and walked away smiling. This is the corner. Wait. You know, I just said that and I just realized that's my favorite part. Isn't it yours? Come on, it's got to be. So this is the corner of the week where honesty gets put on trial, intentions get questioned, and we figure out if somebody spoke up because it was right or because it felt good in the moment. And listen, we don't rush judgment here, okay? We don't pile on. We don't pretend people are perfect. We actually walk through the situation piece by piece, which, because most of the time, real life doesn't fit neatly into a little bitty headline, right? Now, if you're new in here, welcome to the Hive. This is how it works. I'm going to read today's letter. We have an AITA, right? Break down the dynamics, and then I'm bringing you into the conversation. You already know the drill, honey, if you think they handled it right, or stinger if you think they crossed the line. And if you're feeling complicated about it, and you probably will, tell me why in the chat. I read those comments. I do. And I try to answer them as I go along. And believe me, this is all live, all good, and all fun. So I'm going to pull from those comments. Some of the best points on this show come straight from y'all sitting right there behind the screen going, okay, but what about this part? That's important because today's question is one of those deceptively simple ones that gets messy fast. Did I mess up by being too honest? On the surface, that sounds noble, right? Honesty, integrity, saying what needs to be said, but timing matters. Tone matters. Motivation matters too, right? Sometimes the truth can land like a brick, y'all, and not a gold one. Or maybe if you're, you know, pooping gold bricks. But here's the thing. A window, even when nobody is meant, a window, even nobody meant to see out of. I can't even say that. So we're going to unpack all of that. Okay. And I promise you, there are layers here. Settle in. Hit that like button if you're riding with me today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead. Please join the Hive so you don't miss these conversations. Also, the new little episode that I've got for you today for the break is episode 3, guys. And we have another bee has entered the hive, I guess I should say. So, but let's go ahead and get into today's AITA post. and see exactly what kind of honesty we're dealing with here. I can't imagine it's all that great, but we're going to give it a try, right? Okay, so let's begin. As soon as I find it, I've done a little bit better now. Okay. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter the truth about why I wasn't in her life? Okay, let's start. I don't know if I want to. It's a little scary already, to tell you the truth. So, to start, my ex and I were 19 when she got pregnant. We had recently broke up, and she found out a couple of weeks later that she was pregnant. She said she planned to get an abortion, but only, pardon that word, YouTube, don't get me in trouble. I missed that one. Sorry. A termination, that's what we'll call it. So I was always under the belief that she had terminated. She only contacted me once saying it was done, and we didn't speak again. Oh, okay. That's a good start for crazy. Fast forward 19 years later, I found out a month ago that was a lie. Uh-oh. My ex passed away 3 years ago, and my daughter, hold on. Really? Okay, my ex passed away 3 years ago, and my daughter, Kara, has been living with her uncle. He was the one to reach out to give me a heads up after she expressed an interest in wanting us to connect. He and I spoke at length because I was feeling some pretty strong emotions like rage for never being told about her. I mean, yeah, I can understand that. Most definitely. So my ex had backed out of the termination, but didn't want me involved because we were broken up. So decided just not to tell me. But he told me that Kara doesn't know about that. Apparently, I wasn't ready for the fatherhood because we were both young. So I bailed. I couldn't believe it. Rob, her uncle, told me he knows his sister was wrong for that, but promised Kara doesn't have any negative feelings towards me, and my ex never pointed me as a villain, or painted me, pardon me. Just a young guy who knew he couldn't properly care for her. Okay. I guess what matters most here so far that you made life decisions based on information that wasn't true, and that completely changes the moral landscape because you didn't knowingly walk away from a child you believed there was no child to walk away from. That distinction is huge. Okay. The anger you're feeling is understandable because it isn't just about being left out. Okay. Wow. It's about losing 19 years, okay, that you can't get back. And that kind of realization hits people like a freight train, my friend. But where you have to slow yourself down, okay, is in how that anger gets expressed, because Kara is coming into this curious, open, and apparently without resentment, which is actually an incredibly delicate and hopeful place to start. And the fastest way to poison that, okay, is to let your first connection be driven by rage towards someone who isn't here anymore. Your ex made a choice that removed your agency, and you're allowed to have feelings about that, okay? But those feelings cannot become Kara's emotional burden because she didn't create the situation, and she shouldn't be asked to referee the past. I also want to point out something important here, okay? Rob didn't approach you accusing or hostile. He approached you cautiously and honestly, which, that suggests this isn't a trap and it isn't about cornering you. It's about seeing whether a relationship is possible now, right? And that's a gift, even if it came wrapped in painful news. If you walk into this steady, factual, and focused on who you are today, rather than, litigating what happened 19 years ago, you get that relationship its best chance to grow. So, for Truthful Tuesday purposes, the honesty that matters right now isn't uploading everything that you're feeling into one emotional dump. It's being truthful about the core fact, right? That you didn't know she existed while showing up calm, open, and willing to learn who your daughter is now. Okay. So that's not cowardice in my book. That's emotional discipline. And that's what gives this story the possibility of turning into something healthy instead of another wound. So, what do y'all think? Hmm? Help me figure this one out. Honey or stinger here? Anybody? Anybody? Personally, I'm going to go with honey. You didn't know she existed. You didn't walk away on purpose. And you're trying to approach this carefully instead of dumping anger on your daughter. That matters a big deal. That's a great big deal. My goodness, that is huge. Okay. Your response right now is measured and responsible. Just keep that same energy when you meet her. Okay. It's not that hard. It's really not. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. So he asked me not to tell her this when we talk if she asked, and because it could hurt the way she saw her mom. I never actually confirmed I would. Kara messaged me and we've been talking. I've met her twice and it's been crazy emotional. Okay, I can see that. I mean, why wouldn't it be, right? Looking at this girl who looks just like me and hurting that we're just barely getting to know each other. Okay. Think about that one. So far, our conversations have only been about what her life was like, how my life is, what her wants, future goals are, and getting to know each other. We met again Tuesday, and she finally decided to ask the obvious question about what made me not involved. Okay, here we go. How did I feel? What went through my mind? Did I ever think about her, etc.? Good questions. Hard to answer, but good questions, right? So I had been thinking about what to do, but in that moment, I just didn't have it in me to lie. So I was honest. That I was told about the termination, had no idea she even existed, but until now. But that is that I still really want to be in her life and have the chance to be her father if she wants that. Kara was a bit emotional. We talked some more and said she still wants me involved. Wow. There's nothing wrong with that, right? How can there be anything wrong with that? I mean, seriously, that sounds like a really good place to be. So this is where the situation, it just gets more delicate, though, because now you're no longer dealing with abstract history. You're dealing with a real person sitting across from you asking the most vulnerable question she could possibly ask, right? And seriously, in that moment, the power dynamic, it completely shifts. It does. I mean, like, huge shift. And when Kara asks why you weren't there, she isn't asking to litigate her mother's choices. She's trying to understand herself, where she comes from, why certain things in her life happened, and whether the person in front of her actually wants her now. And that means whatever answer you give is going to land straight on her nervous system, not on the adults who made decisions years ago. The fact that you kept the conversation focused on your own knowledge rather than turning it into an indictment is important, because there is a huge difference between saying, I didn't know you existed, and saying, your mom lied to me, right? Even though those statements overlap in reality, one centers your experience without attacking someone she loved, and the other, it forces her to emotionally defend a parent while she's already processing grief and shock. I mean, she passed away, right? And you know what? You didn't make her do that. You told the truth about what you were told. You acknowledged the time that was lost. Okay. Good job. Good on you. And you immediately followed it with reassurance that you want to be present now, which is exactly what a kid in that moment needs to hear. Way to go. Just way to go. What I also respect here is that you didn't unload every thought you've had about your uncle asking you to stay quiet, or the resentment that you may still be carrying about how this unfolded behind the scenes. You know, that right there would have complicated the moment and shifted the focus away from building trust. You chose honesty paired with stability, which is hard when emotions are high and the stakes feel enormous. And the fact that she was emotional but still open to continuing, that's amazing. That tells you that the way you handled it, it didn't scare her off. It gave her clarity without skipping away hope. This is the kind of truth telling that builds something instead of blowing it up. And that's not easy to do when you've been sitting with this information for such a short time and you're still processing it yourself. So, what do y'all think? What is my topic? My topic is AITA, which stands for Am I the A-hole? And it's a certain story that I got and am talking about because I have friends that have the same situation. So I'm going to ask again, the verdict here, honey or stinger here? Kind of like red flag or green flag. Personally, my verdict is honey, because she asked you directly and you didn't lie. You didn't smear her mother, and you framed everything around wanting a relationship with her now rather than settling old scores. The fact that you just went ahead and accepted what is and went on with it. That's honest and compassionate, which is exactly how this conversation needed to be handled. Okay. All right. We still have more here. Okay. So that night, my messages were blowing up, not just from Rob, but her grandparents as well. They're all outraged for telling Kara about her mom because she yelled at all of them and is refusing to even take their calls. Okay. Yes, the lie was terrible, but I just ruined the image she had of her late mother for my own benefit. Rob called me. Did I read that right? Okay. Rob called me a selfish dork for not taking into consideration how this would affect Kara. Finding out about this. So right now, I feel like poop. I get honesty is the best policy, but in this case, I don't know if I was an a-hole for doing it. I'm still learning this whole dad business, so don't know if I dropped the ball here. All righty. Hi, Lucy Warren. How are you? Thanks for being here, Donna. Oh, okay. So for me, this is where I think the pressure, yeah, the pressure. It's a cooker and it turns on because now the adults around Kara are reacting emotionally, and that's reaction. That's a reaction is being dumped straight onto you or dumped. I can't talk now, y'all. Sorry. Let me get a drink. I get dry and my tongue sticks to my mouth. You know how it works. Okay, so even though the conversation didn't actually happen with them, it happened between you and your daughter. What's important here, okay, is that Kara didn't explode because you wanted revenge or because you dragged her mother's name through the mud. She reacted because a major truth about her own origin story just shifted. That kind of emotional whiplash would have happened no matter who told her once she started asking direct questions. What worries me more is the framing coming from the rest of the family because they're treating this as though your job was to protect an image rather than answer a young woman who was brave enough to ask something terrifying about her own life. Terrifying for her, terrifying for you, for all involved. There's a difference between being cruel and being honest. And from everything you said, you didn't walk into the goal of detonating her memory or of her mother. Okay. You answered the questions she asked in the moment with restraint and with care. And those are two very different things. Calling you selfish for that alone ignores the position you were put in. You didn't initiate the topic, you didn't seek out that conversation, and you did not weaponize the information. You responded to your daughter asking you about her life, which is exactly the moment honesty actually matters the most, right? Could this have been softer, slower, prepared with the family first? Sure, maybe. But real life doesn't always give you perfectly choreographed disclosure windows, right? And demanding that you lie in real time to preserve a narrative about someone who isn't here anymore. Let me say something. No. Thank you. Drive through. No. No. I mean, that would, I guess, have required you to sacrifice your own integrity in your relationship, Kara. And that's not a small ask. You're also brand new at this role. You didn't get 15 years, right? 19 years to practice being her father. You got dropped into it emotionally overnight, and you're already questioning yourself, which is actually a sign that you're trying to do this responsibly rather than ego first. Sounds like a good dad to me. Look, the adults around her are panicking because the emotional consequences are messy, but that doesn't automatically mean your choice was wrong. It means the truth was disruptive. And disruptive truths usually, they make everybody uncomfortable. Come on, before they settle, right? Right? So what's your verdict? Do we have some honey or stinger today? What do you think? So I'm going to use some of the tools that I've made myself because I think this one deserves honey. Honey, for sure. Come on. You didn't go looking to expose anyone. You answered a direct question with care. And the fallout is coming from other adults trying to control the narrative, not from you trying to hurt your daughter. You're learning on the fly, but your instinct to be honest and protective of your relationship with her is right on. And I am so proud of you. So proud of you. Hey, Des, you back there listening? Good to see you, my friend. Love ya. So, okay. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. I went ahead and got me some comments together, right? Yeah. So, let's go on into those as soon as I can find my head again. Alrighty. Now, first comment that I pulled. NTA, that means you're not the a-hole. Your ex lied. Your ex created this mess. I'm sorry, she has passed, but she did this. It is Truthful Tuesday, y'all. You have no obligation to continue a lie you had no part of. Your daughter deserved the truth. This comment right here, this is coming from a place of moral clarity, if you ask me. And I understand why people resonate with it, because it draws a clean line between who created the original lie and who is now dealing with the fallout. You didn't withhold her existence. You didn't decide to erase someone from her life story, and you weren't the one who spent 19 years letting that misunderstanding stand. So the idea that you suddenly became more responsible for maintaining that narrative, it just became time passed isn't really fair. What I think is especially important here, okay? The point about obligation. You were never a participant in the lie. Please get that straight in your head, okay? Thank you, Des. Love ya. But, okay, so that means you weren't bound to protect the lie, particularly when the person asking you the question was the one most affected by it, right? She wasn't asking out of curiosity about adult drama. She was asking about herself, and people deserve honesty about their own lives, even when that honesty is painful. Now, at the same time, I do think it's healthy that you're still questioning yourself. New parent or not, you should always question yourself as a parent. You owe your children that. Let me put that out there real quick, because I'm going to stand on that one with gold bricks on my feet, because seriously, think about it. Okay. That shows you're not treating this casually or triumphantly too. You're not celebrating that the truth came out. You're wrestling with the consequences, and that emotional weight is appropriate for a parent stepping into a child's life late and trying not to make things worse. I can't see how that would be anything but honey for me. Okay? Seriously. That is some beautiful glistening honey, if you ask me. You didn't create the lie. You didn't volunteer the information maliciously. And you know what? You told your daughter the truth when she directly asked about her own life. Y'all, seriously, that is nothing but freaking honey, okay? I mean, honey galore. One of these days, I'm gonna get me some honey, and I'm gonna have it right here. I'm gonna get fat off of it, but I'm gonna take me a little some every time. No, I'm not. I'm just joking. So that puts you on the right side of this, really. Even if the aftermath is messy, you're still there. You're still doing what you're supposed to. Okay? I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I praise you for it. Absolutely praise you for it. All right, now, still a little bit more. Let me get past that. Yep, exactly. OP. OP means original poster. Okay. Exactly. OP, you were the victim of someone else's long term lie. Amen. Your daughter's uncle tried to coerce you to continue a lie that would only serve to hurt you in favor of your daughter's mother. No, no. You know what, uncle? Kiss mine. That's what I said. Kiss it. Because no, no, that's not fair to you. Okay. Here. My advice to keep your head down. Avoid responding or stirring up more drama. And this too shall pass. I like that too. Yeah. Then you can continue building your own relationship with your daughter on your terms, not the a-hole. Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you. Yes, Des. That's right. So, okay, this comment, it shifts the focus, obviously. I'm just trying to get this stupid thing out of my face. This comment shifts the focus away from the balance and towards survival mode. And there's something very practical about that framing, because right now, the loudest part of this situation isn't Kara. It's the adults around her who are panicking and flooding your phone. And that kind of noise can make you lose sight of the only relationship that actually matters here, the one between you and your daughter. That's what this should be about, period. You were dropped into an emotional minefield created by decisions, okay, that you didn't make. And trying to argue with multiple relatives at once rarely produces clarity. It usually just multiplies stress and hardens people into their corners. I do want to be careful with the word coerce, okay? Because while Rob did ask you not to tell Kara, what you were ultimately facing was a direct question from your child, not a quiet conspiracy to keep something buried forever. And that distinction matters so much. There you are, Patty friend. See, I started late thinking, hey, she'll get to catch it, but you just work too much, woman. Workaholic like me. I love you, sis. So happy to see you. Okay, so avoiding public family warfare is smart. Okay, I do not knock you for that one, but not at the cost of lying to Kara or shrinking yourself into silence when she asks about her own history. Keeping your head down doesn't mean abandoning honesty. It means refusing to get dragged into a shouting match with people who are reacting defensively instead of thoughtfully. The strongest part of this advice is the reminder that your relationship with your daughter gets to be built on your own interactions with her, not on other people's narratives or pressure campaigns. And the more calmly and consistently that you show up for her now, the more likely she is to judge you based on who you are today rather than the chaos unfolding around her. So, time really does matter here, because emotional storms burn hot at first, right? And then they cool. The steadier that you remain, okay, the more space there is for something healthy to take root. What do y'all think? Honey or stinger on this one? Y'all, I gotta have honey. There's just no way around it. No way. Because I mean, think about it seriously. You're not wrong to protect your own emotional footing and focus on your daughter instead of engaging in family wide blowups. And the comment is right there. Pardon me. The comment is right that your priority should be the relationship you're building now rather than defending yourself in every group chat, while things settle. It's crazy, if you ask me. Seriously. So, my wife was 20. This is another comment, forgive me. My wife was 20 when she finally discovered the truth about her parentage. She had been told her whole life that her biological father was her deadbeat stepfather who'd abandoned her when she was a kid. Lo and behold, her mother passed away and she left a note saying who my wife's real father was, a highly successful lawyer who was never told about the pregnancy and was overjoyed when he found out. He came to our wedding and goes out of his way to visit us, but both him and my wife hate that they had literally 2 decades of missed time. That's crazy to me. 20 years of missed time. Ooh, I wish you could come share that with me too, Patty friend. That sounds good. And I'm hungry. And somebody's out there cooking breakfast or something. I don't know. I can smell it. And I'm hungry. You're just making me hungrier. You're crazy. All right. So this comment, it does. It adds something different to the conversation, because instead of focusing on blame, it brings in a long view perspective about what these delayed truths actually do to people over time. The part that hits hardest, okay, for me, I guess, is not the anger, it's the grief for all the ordinary moments that never happened. I mean, birthdays, school events, advice that never got given, relationships that could have formed slowly instead of being forced to compress for decades. It's a few fragile meetings, okay? That kind of loss sits quietly but permanently. Even when things turn out well, in the end, what makes this relevant to your situation, though, is that it shows how complicated the emotional aftermath can be, even when nobody explodes and, the reconnection goes beautifully. The lawyer in that story didn't storm in demanding explanations, and the daughter didn't cut him off out of spite. They built something real, and they still carry sadness for what was taken from them by secrecy. That's a reminder that the damage of withholding the truth isn't always about anger in the moment, and it shouldn't be. It's about the long-term weight people carry when their life story suddenly changes years later. So it also quietly reinforces something important, okay, about timing. The truth tends to surface eventually, especially when families are keeping secrets that big. And when it does, the person most affected is almost always the child who didn't get a say at all. Think about that. The fact that this commenter's story ends in connection instead of total rupture is encouraging, though, right? But it doesn't erase the pain of the lost years. And that's exactly why so many people argue that honesty, handled gently, is still the better path. Because at least it gives everyone a chance to move forward, right? In reality, rather than in a story that was built to protect adults. So, what do y'all think about this comment? I mean, stuff happens, right? Sorry, I got cracker crumbs. Just kidding. I don't know. I have to give this one honey. This example supports the idea that telling the truth, even late, creates the possibility of a real relationship. What do you think, Des? What do you think, Patty? I have to give this one honey, I'm telling you. I mean, because a real relationship is, instead of a prolonged fiction novel, And while it can't restore the years that were lost, it gives people the chance to build something honest going forward rather than just discovering it in an open, more devastating way later, right? Some crazy stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm going with honey on that one. I have to. So, I can't get this stupid thing to work right. All right. Don't move. It's that time. When we come back, okay, we're dropping straight into the next chapter because there is an update. There is an update. But before that, now you get, oh, wait, let me answer this first. Honey, your insight is right on, I think. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Patty. I just feel, sometimes things just happen. And he's handling this so well. I can't imagine having to go through this situation, but I'll be honest, I think I would personally handle this the way that he's handling it because, I mean, I'll tell you, we got a mutual friend on YouTube, and he's public about it. Something like this happened to him. And, I'm so proud of the person that he is and getting to know him because he did exactly what he should have done. And now he has his family and she has him and his daughter. And, I can't think of anything better than finding that there's somebody else out there that wants to love you. Okay. So, okay, here we go. We got the next chapter of Bee Ninja, and this one turns the heat up. Listen, the hive just got tested. Backup has arrived. I can't say this without laughing at myself. And the board has officially shifted from defense to strategy. Wait till you find out who the board is. If you thought the last episode was about figuring out what happened, the next one is about deciding what to do about it. So stay right here. Bee Ninja is up next with our new Beehive member. Hey, Walt, I love ya.
Hold everything where it is for a second, because whatever triggered that surge hasn't cooled off yet, and I don't want anyone resetting a single relay until we understand what just leaned on the perimeter.
That's fine by me, because when half the grid flickers at once, it usually means somebody wanted to see what would happen if they nudged the wrong wire. I was already pulling the raw logs on the way in, and what bothers me is that the power flow didn't spike outward like a fault would, it drew inward, which only happens when something is pulling on the system instead of stressing it.
So you're saying this wasn't an accident and it wasn't noise, it was a hand testing weight before trying a handle.
That's exactly how it looks from my end, and every time I saw that pattern in the field, it meant someone was mapping exits instead of kicking doors.
We sealed the east relay, and 30 seconds later the signal jumped sectors, which means whoever did it wasn't sitting in that relay at all. They were watching how and waiting for the next move.
Right, because adaptive systems don't stay anchored to the first access point. Once they realize you're paying attention, they start tracking reaction time, which tells us the hive is already being surveyed whether we like it or not. So constantly reshuffling defenses just gives them better blueprints.
So your advice is that I stop playing whack-a-mole and let one section look softer than the rest long enough to see where the pressure really comes from.
Exactly, because controlled vulnerability forces the other side to move closer, and nothing moves closer without leaving a trail you can follow.
That's old surveillance work. Let your target think they're winning while you take notes on how they're doing it.
I don't enjoy pretending to lose, but I enjoy being blind even less.
I'll keep the filters off and run pattern matching by hand so we don't accidentally smooth out the fingerprints we're trying to capture.
And I'll mirror the grid from the outside and stage drones where nobody's been looking yet, because that's usually where the next touch shows up.
Good, because whatever brushed this hive did it quietly, and quiet systems are the ones that come back prepared.
That's usually when things stop being theoretical.
Which is why we should be ready before the next tap turns into something heavier.
Then let's make sure the next move tells us exactly who thinks they're clever enough to test my hive.
Let me add something to that before we commit. Because when you already know who's standing in the hallway, and right now all we've got is a footprint pattern without a body. I hear you.
Fair point, so tell me what your instincts say instead of your spreadsheets.
My instincts say whoever touched this grid was trained or built for it. Patience over panic. Exactly, and that makes them dangerous.
And my spreadsheet said the same thing, because the timing offsets between the pulses aren't random at all. They're too clean.
So it's learning while we talk.
Yes, and the longer we pretend not to notice it, the more confident it becomes, which is why the bait window can't be sloppy. It has to look organic or it won't bite. Don't fake weakness. Redesign the floor plan so the weakness looks like it happened naturally.
I like that better, because I don't bluff, I maneuver.
Shift 3 relays instead of 1, stagger the response times, and let the signal think it just outpaced your automation. Understood. Good. While it celebrates, I'll be watching which corridor lights up first, because predators always double back to confirm a kill.
Good. That gives us behavior, not just noise.
This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson, every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network off a promise and a try. Every sunrise, every moment, she's stacking legacy. This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. Boss B rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss B rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. Got thunder in the hustle, got a voice that cuts clean. Every mic she touches turns to power unseen. So let further spin the numbers, let the views rise slow or fast. Boss B doesn't measure wins by echoes of the past. This moment is a pivot, this season's history. Bow down to the founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss B rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss B rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's got fire in the head, it's got truth in the frame, got a heart that won't retire and a
Honey or stinger? Choose carefully.
Without sound. Ha ha ha. We're back again. Okay, update. We got an update. I love that part. I love the updates, seriously, because usually they're pretty good. So let's get started on it again. All righty. The update. Yep. I made this post a couple of months back and I wanted to share what's been going on. Yay, bestie. So glad you did. This was a really big miss, and thank you for all your reassurance. You're telling me that Kara deserved to know the truth. Amen. There was still some guilt I carried with me for days until she called me again, now that she has had time to process. See, what do I tell you? Don't react. Kara thanked me for being honest about what happened, and we had a deep conversation about what she's going through. Okay, good. This is a good start, right? So she and her mom always had a very strained relationship, even until she passed away. So there was still a lot of anger and resentment she never got to have closure for. Ooh, that's owie. Yep, you back there listening. Thank you. Pedagogy clues? Is that what the closed captions said? I'll have to go figure that out. Okay, so now learning this new lie her mom told her about me, well, it opened a lot of other mixed feelings. Oh, bestie, I can understand why. So she has been in therapy even before her mother died to deal with her issues. So Kara is working this out with someone. That's amazing, which I am happy to know. Me too. Many of you were suggesting therapy for her, so at least she has already had that down. Amen to that. Okay. Yay. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. This update completely changes the emotional temperature of the whole story now, because now we finally get to see how Kara herself processed what you told her instead of only hearing from the relatives who were panicking in the immediate aftermath. And that distinction matters a lot. Okay. The people who were blowing up your phone were reacting from fear and loyalty to her mother. But Kara is the one living inside the consequences of this information. And after she had space to think and talk it through, her response wasn't rage or rejection. Got to make note of that. I mean, that's a pretty cool team, but being that season has caused her to grow up a little too soon. So it was gratitude for honesty and willingness to have a deeper conversation with you about what she's carrying. It's also important that she's already had a complicated relationship with her mother before all this came out, because that context explains why the truth didn't simply shatter an idealized image. It layered onto a reality she was already struggling with, which is very different from you suddenly rewriting her entire childhood out of nowhere. Yeah, that's all on Mama. And I'm sorry she's gone. Rest in peace. But that's all on Mama. You didn't manufacture doubt. You added missing information to something she was already questioning and processing. Okay? Keep that in mind. And the fact that she came back to you instead of pulling away, that tells you that your approach gave her enough safety to keep engaging rather than shutting down. That is so important. The therapy piece is huge too. Okay. A lot more people should be in therapy. We know this. And knowing her situation, yeah, I would agree. Therapy would be a good thing, because that means she isn't being forced to metabolize this alone or through family group chats full of heightened emotions. She has a professional help helping her untangle grief, anger, identity, and definitely betrayal in a healthier environment that has that reduces the risk of this return, or this turns into something explosive, pardon me, distraction, or unresolved down the line, right? So from a parenting standpoint, even this early in your relationship with her, the fact that you care about whether she has that support says a lot about the role you're trying to step into. This update doesn't erase the pain or the lost years. I know that. But it does strongly suggest that telling her the truth in that moment, it didn't harm her the way people warned you it would. And in fact, it may have laid the groundwork for a more honest relationship going forward. Okay. So, what do y'all think about that one? What do you think? I'm going with honey this time too. She thanked you for your honesty, came back to talk after processing and working through it all with the therapist. Yeah, that's about as clear a signal as you can get that telling her the truth was the right call and helped rather than hurt in the long run, right? I think that's pretty amazing if you ask me. Okay. So my daughter's still mad at her family. She talked to them a couple of times before stopping communication. Karen knows she'll forgive them eventually, but for right now, she says she wants them to live with the consequences. So hasn't had any contact with them. Yep. Yep. Des says, yep. I agree. Yep. So, wow. Okay, I did express my concern over her shutting them out, but she says it's not forever. She's still trying to process that this betrayal and or that process this betrayal and get to a place where she'll accept them back into her life. At the moment, she's still living with her friend and wants to keep things that like that away. So for oh my goodness, so far has declined any financial help I offer. Well, all right. Now my table's going wonky. Sorry, I need a drink. All right. So far has declined any financial help. That's pretty amazing. I think that says a lot, don't you? Yeah. So, pardon me. She just wants to work out her anger and let them sit with this a while. I had to do some blocking still for my own peace of mind. Things are a work in progress, but I'm happy to report that we're getting along fine. Kara's been over so many times and has met my fiance. We're learning so much about each other, even if sometimes it's hard not to get emotional over childhood memories. She talks about knowing I couldn't be there for them, but still in the process of finding a therapist myself because this has been pretty heavy on me too. Good for you. And still have no idea what the hell I'm doing as a parent. That's okay. Seasoned parents don't know what they're doing either. So you're not alone. Thanks for your words of encouragement and all the advice from fellow parents. I kept getting asked for an update on this. So sorry, it took me a while to remember to post something. Oh, you're forgiven. Come on. You've been spending time with your daughter. You're forgiven. This part of the update shows something really important about how you're actually showing up now, because instead of trying to control her reactions or rush her towards forgiveness, you're respecting that she needs space while still gently voicing concerns, which is exactly the balance people struggle to strike in emotionally charged situations like this. Okay, you didn't cheer her on for cutting people off forever, but you also didn't pressure her to reconcile before she's ready. And that kind of restraint is what keeps you from becoming just another adult telling her how she's supposed to feel. That's a no-no, right? That's a no-no. space. Absolutely, Des. Absolutely. Just give her space. I also want to highlight too the fact that you took steps to protect your own mental health by blocking the family members who were overwhelming you, because that's not abandonment, that's boundary setting, and you're allowed. And when things are this raw, especially, boundaries are part of stability, not cruelty, right? You're modeling something quietly healthy here, that people can step back from conflict without burning everything down. And that emotional safety, it matters even when everyone is hurting. The relationship building details matters. She's spending time with you. She's met your fiance. She keeps coming back, and you're having real conversations even when they're painful. That doesn't happen when someone feels manipulated or unsafe. That happens when they feel respected and listened to, right? And the fact that you're seeking therapy yourself is huge. I mean, way huge, extremely huge. That's this kind of huge, okay? Seriously. Because you're acknowledging that this is heavy and that you don't magically know how to do this just because you share DNA, which is exactly what responsible adults do when they're stepping in to new emotional territory, right? This update doesn't read like someone who's centering his own vindication. It reads like someone trying to be steady while everything around him is still settling. And that matters a lot more than getting every step perfect. Don't you think? Yeah, got some honey on that one. I think Dad gets honey. Dad gets lots and lots of honey because, you're respecting her boundaries. You're protecting her own peace and protecting your peace, staying involved without pressure and getting support for yourself. All signs of someone trying to handle a sudden, complicated parent-child relationship thoughtfully rather than reactively. And you know how I feel about reactions, right? Don't react. Don't react because it will get you in trouble. Walk away. It doesn't take 2 minutes to walk away and come back level-headed because you've calmed down, okay? 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Walk away. That's really all you have to do. And it's okay to do that. Uh-huh. Honey, love me some honey. Yep. So, yeah. Come on. Think about it. All right. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I do have some more comments on the update because I'm good like that. I think. I'm trying. All right. Good luck, mate. Don't focus on what you missed of her life. Just make sure you give her the best of yourself for the future. You sound like an awesome dad already. Amen. You both deserve some happiness. See, this comment is doing something important but simple. Shifting your attention away from guilt and towards the future. You can't fix the years you didn't get. And carrying that weight into every new interaction with Kara will eventually exhaust the both of you, because it turns every single moment into a referendum on the past instead of letting a real relationship grow naturally. And that's what we all want and need, right? So what matters most now is consistency. And come on, y'all, with kids, that's the way it is. And you know that even if you're not a parent yet. You got to be consistent. Me too, Des. It's a great update, isn't it? I mean, it's great the way he handled this, but the update made me feel good, even more good about the whole thing, right? Because, man, what matters most is the kid. And showing up, listening, being steady, and letting trust build at a human pace instead of trying to compensate for everything all at once. You can't squeeze all that time into, the next 5 minutes. You just can't. It also points out something worth holding on to. Okay. Emotionally, outside perspective can be useful when you're deep in the middle of something heavy. And hearing that you're doing well doesn't mean the situation is perfect. It means your current behavior is lining up with what a thoughtful parent actually looks like. True. Facts. Seriously. Yep. So you're not being asked to be flawless. You're being asked to be present, honest, and willing to learn. And that's exactly what you're doing. Amen. And I'm so proud of you. Proud for you. Definitely, honey. The comment supports healthy, forward focusing parenting and recognizes the work you're already putting in instead of stirring more doubt or blame. That's no fun, right? Okay, this one, I hope I got all the bad little words out of it, but if I didn't, forgive me. I tried. So, pro tip. None of us have the forking foggiest idea. What the hell are we doing? None. Everyone who says they do know are forking liars. I'm so glad that word works. I have been here the whole time. My kids, almost 12, and I still don't have the faintest idea what the hell I am doing. You know what? Aside from all the F bombing, I have to say praise to you, my friend, because you just said what everybody else is thinking, and you know it. We all know it, right? Absolutely. Go you. So you will get used to it. I just care. Listen, hang out, make poopy jokes, and embarrass him. So far, it seems to work. Great job stepping up. It's not easy to do after what you have been through. Your fiance must have even more respect for you as a person, seeing what you are trying to do. Amen. If I were her, I would be like, oh my God, you are who I am marrying, and you're stuck now. Seriously. You ain't going nowhere because you just too cool, and I'm cool too. So yeah. So this comment is blunt, okay, obviously, but underneath the humor, there's something very grounding about it because it strips away the fantasy that good parents are the ones who always feel confident and know exactly what they're doing. Lies. Yeah, most people are improvising in real time. Yeah, adjusting as their kids grow. Dare I say, growing themselves? Oh my gosh. And figuring things out by trial, error, and paying attention to what actually works for the specific child in front of them. You may have 3 kids, but they're not the same. None of them. That's especially relevant for you because you didn't get a gradual on-ramp into fatherhood. You were dropped straight into emotional deep water with a teenager who already has a full life history and complicated feelings. And of course, that's going to feel overwhelming. So I think what this commenter is really validating is your approach so far. Listening more than lecturing, being present without trying to dominate, allowing awkwardness, humor, and ordinary connection to exist instead of turning every interaction into a therapy session about the past. No, that kind of low pressure, everyday bonding is often what builds trust faster than grand speeches or dramatic promises. They're also pointing out something you probably need to hear, that stepping away or stepping up now, it still counts. You can't go back in time, but you can show up consistently going forward, and people in your life are likely noticing that effort, including your fiance, because it says something about your character, that you're leaning into something difficult instead of avoiding it. So again, I'm just going to have to put this one on, really good honey for the commenter. The comment reinforces realistic expectations about parenting. It encourages the steady, everyday stuff that actually builds relationships. And it really affirms that stepping up now is meaningful even after everything you've been through. Okay? I think that was a great comment, too. So this is the last comment. This comment speaks the truth. We're all just experimenting and responding to how they react and trying our best. Amen. My 6-year-old is very well behaved. She asked my permission before doing anything. Meanwhile, I almost never say no. She asked for a cookie before breakfast. 1 cookie. Okay. I'm just going to say it. What just flashed through my head was Bill Cosby. Dad is great. Makes us chocolate cake. Come on. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Especially Des, I know you know what I'm talking about. Who didn't watch the Cosby Show? Seriously. I loved it. Okay, so she always listens, is polite and loves to please her teachers. I can't really take credit for any of it. It's just always how she has been. My nephew, on the other hand, is a sweet kid, but is crazy. Okay, would I blame his parents that he can't sit still and will run headfirst into a wall while laughing maniacally? Fork, no. I missed that one. Don't read that. Ugh. Yeah, I think. Yep, I didn't miss that one. Okay, we basically parent the same way, but we're dealing with different humans. Anyhow, went off topic. So true. Okay. Yeah. Right? You can't have cake for breakfast. Right? I know. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I know you do, Des. I love that. I will watch it over and over again. I swear. That has got to be the best Bill Cosby out there. Seriously. You know, when it comes to stars, I don't give a crap about their politics or what happens in their real life. The characters they play, that's why I like them. That's who I know them as. I don't know them personally. So I don't want to hear nothing about no Bill Cosby because I loved him. When I was in band in junior high, playing the trumpet. Yes, your girl played the trumpet. I got 1 foot away. Yes. Okay. I was in jazz band too. Des, you'll love that. But my point being, yeah, I've totally lost that thought. But seriously, oh my God, I'm just going to go on. Never mind. This comment is making a quieter but really important point about parenting. I remember now. Sorry, I'm old. I was talking about Bill Cosby, and we had the year that, I was in first chair, which, if you don't know, is, let me pull this down on my face. Oh, hell yeah. Xylophone. Cool. Okay. So when I was in junior high, I played the trumpet. Got to my last year in junior high in there, and I was first chair. I did really good and everything. And first chair means that you test every week, and whoever does better gets to sit in the first chair and has a better chance to get solos and stuff like that. Well, I ended up on one, and we did, I think it was Hang On Sloopy and the Cosby Show theme. And I got to do the trumpet solo on there. It was so cool. And I I don't care what you say about Bill Cosby. I love that show so much. And that's the best time I ever had playing my trumpet. Okay. All right. So let's see here. I think, yeah. Yep. That's the last one. All right. I finished it up here. Man, I missed the Cosby Show. I know I could probably go and watch it, but yeah, I don't have time. I'm too busy making videos about bee ninjas. The things that come out of your mouth before you think about what you're saying, right? All right, my honeybees. This is one of those stories that sticks with you long after the stream ends because it reminds us that real life is messy. Timelines don't line up the way we wish they would. And sometimes doing the right thing, it still comes with emotional fallout before it feels settled. So what I hope you'll take from today is that honesty, when it's paired with care, patience, and accountability, can actually open doors instead of closing them, even when the road getting there is uncomfortable. If you were writing, sorry, I'm reading comments. I know you're loving it today, Des, because we got the same mind frame going here. So if you were writing with me on these verdicts tonight, make sure you drop your honey or stinger in the comments. I will get those buttons up soon. And tell me what you would have done in this situation. Seriously, because I read those. I pull from them. And then some of the best conversations happened after the live ends. Okay. And if you're new here, welcome to the Hive. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around because we do this every week, every day. And the conversations keep getting deeper and better. Now, don't go anywhere just yet because I've got a couple of quick things I want you to see. Same as yesterday, but you know I got to do it. Okay. We're rolling straight into some VB promos. Yeah, no, I haven't got rid of her yet, but I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. So, first, Tuber Chat. You know, I've got to help my friends out. We're creators. They help creators grow smarter and faster. And then for BBTV and Iron Sharpening Iron Universe, where this whole hive lives and breathes. Stick with me, watch those, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow for another AskABee. All righty. Let's roll it.
I want to take a minute to shout out Tuber Chat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, says, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why.
If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out Tuber Chat. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way. We're live weekdays at 12 p.m. Central, and each day has its own focus. Same honesty, same voice, just different conversations depending on the day. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
Boss be rising.